This week's episode of We Hate Your Baby Daddy is sponsored by Warriors of the Divine. Ladies, if you love fashion, then you absolutely need to own a pair of these gorgeous, new, handcrafted feather earrings by Warriors of the Divine. Personally, I love a good statement piece. And girl, these feather earrings are large and in charge. They will definitely add some unique style and flair to any look, whether you're dressing up for a night out or adding a touch of bohemian flair to your everyday look. Warriors of the Divine has got you covered. Warriors of the Divine believes in ethical sourcing. The feathers are sustainably and responsibly obtained, so you can rock these earrings with confidence, knowing that not a single bird has been harmed for the sake of fashion. Oh, and let me tell you, when you order these new feather earrings from Warriors of the Divine, you're doing some good by empowering artisans and promoting sustainable fashion practices. Yes, we love a socially conscious brand. You can find these fabulous feather earrings on warriorsdivine.com. Click on the link to their website in our episode description and snag yourself a pair today. The views expressed on this episode, as with all episodes of We Hate Your Baby Daddy, are based solely on our personal opinions and shit we heard in the streets.
The content here should not be taken as indisputable fact. This show is for entertainment purposes only, so enjoy and don't come for us.
This episode deals with subject matter that may be upsetting to some listeners, including topics about domestic abuse and substance abuse. If this is not your vibe you're on right now, we understand that wholeheartedly and ask you to please listen to one of our more lighthearted episodes. Love you and stay safe.
Welcome back to another episode of We Hate Your Baby Daddy with Bree and D.
Hello, hello.
And today we are going to go off about Brad Pitt. But before we get into that, of course, we're going to have our life updates. And we are going to be releasing subscriber only content. It's like more personal, stories that people can relate to. And again, like for our listeners, if you ever want to join an episode and just go off about your baby daddy, I promise you it is therapeutic, because we just recorded the subscriber only episode, our first new one, and I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my chest getting all that out. So, let us know if you want to be on an episode. We love having guests. So that being said, and also it's $1.99 a month to subscribe on Spotify. But anyway, so that being said, Dee, what is going on in your life?
I have a sinus infection, so excuse my voice and general misery. It's like the sinus pain where it radiates to your back teeth, and I have like extra teeth in the back, so it's like really painful. So yeah. Also, I'm in the three-nager stage. So like she's getting like really sassy and rude, but at the same time I'm kind of like amazed and like encourage it because like she's really like found her voice as like a person. And one thing that like we've been through and have like always experienced like just walking around or whatever is like people make loud objective comments on her appearance because she doesn't, she has like an unusual like appearance. So I guess people kind of point it out, but they talk about her as if she can't hear them and as if she's kind of like some sort of doll. So I hate it. I fucking hate it, and I always address it. And now she has started to address it now. um yeah, like she gets actually like visibly uncomfortable, and she really hates when people like talk about her appearance or like they note like point out like a strange feature that she has. So like she just like directly addresses people now. Yesterday we were just walking down the street and there was like a gaggle of like tweens or whatever, and they saw her and they're like, oh, she's cute. And then this one girl like stepped out and she was like, yeah, she's pretty, but she got hair just like my such and such cousin and blah blah blah. And she was like, oh, she looked like my baby cousin. And like she turned around and she was like, first of all, I'm not a baby. I'm a big girl, and I don't look like your cousin. Bye. And I'm like, yeah.
Damn.
She's
I
very
have it.
verbally, she takes after her mama. She's very verbally vicious. And I kind of have to be like, okay, let's go. I don't want to fight these people. But
I love
yeah,
that for her.
yeah, she really hates it. But I hate that, like having a daughter and like just having people talk about her as if she cannot hear them or she just has no fucking like bodily autonomy. It's just like that is a girl that looks like that, and she's just like, okay, nigga, like,
You don't know me, bitch.
yeah, your nose is big. Shut the fuck up. Why is you pointing out my facial features?
That is a Philly girl through and through. Don't fuck with her.
She'd be like, why is your butt on the front of your body? Stop pointing out what color my hair is. She gets really upset.
Like, she calls me Aunt Berry, and I was like, I'm afraid to ask her why because she's gonna be like, "Oh, Brie, because you're shaped like a berry, duh, bitch." Like,
It's
I'm
really
like,
rude.
I'm just like, okay, baby. That's like when she
I
says,
think she's
"Hey,
just
Aunt
being
Berry," I'm
cute.
like, okay.
But yeah, like she called her nanny big back. She drew her big back, remember? And she was just like, yeah, nanny just has a big back. So I drew her like a triangle.
Oh man, savage. So savage. I feel like I'm entering almost that stage. I mean, my daughter, she says words, but like her first sentence was actually "Bye, mama." I was like, oh, but like she does some things where I'm like, you're not supposed to put your hands in the dog's food bowl, but you're doing it. Please stop. She looks at me, just does it, grabs food out of the dog's bowl, tries to eat it, just crunching on it. I'm like, "Can you just okay. You're hurting yourself more than you're hurting me by
Oh
doing
yeah, with
that."
the direct eye contact. It's actually going to be so funny when like they get to the point where they start arguing with the pet and the pet starts arguing back because she does that with the cat a lot. I just hear in the other room, meow. I don't care, Yuki. Don't do that.
Yo, she feeds my dog. Then when my dog eats the snack that's in her hand, she goes, "No," and like bops her on the nose. Not bops, but like she's into noses now. She likes noses. She'll touch people's noses. Touches her on the nose, and she's like, "No," and I'm like, You set yourself up. What are you doing?" But that's toddler logic. I mean, there's just no way to make sense of it.
Yeah, like I'll just step on the cat's tail to see her reaction, which isn't like a strong reaction. She's a very dog like patient, like golden retriever cat. So she's just
No.
like, ow, bitch, why would you do that?
No, my dog's sassy. Like, I mean, I try to keep them separated because she tries to like go for her tail sometimes, and my dog does not play that. So I'm just like, no. Like you can give her your snack and touch her nose and stuff, but no fur grabbing because my dog, she will get in there like swimwear. Like she will get active. She's a Karen,
Oh
as
my
D said.
god. Yeah, like her bob's swinging when she goes for the baby.
She's white. She has a bob cut and it swings from side to side. And she will call the manager. And that's not even me. I don't know who she's calling. She's calling somebody above me. Like she is a bitch, that dog. So
Like when she barks, that actually translates to I'd like to escalate this.
you can go get your manager now. Um, so my life update. Like, so I just want to say something personal. I am recovering from some plastic surgery that I had. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because people, okay, when you watch the show like Botched and you're like sitting there like, man, how can you get addicted to plastic surgery? Like, what? I don't get it. But it's like once you start, you're like, I could change this, I could change that. And you never really realize it until you're doing it a million times that you're like, maybe I am addicted to plastic surgery because I had my body done I started in 2017 with like something a little minor. And then I had a big surgery in 2021. I had like a breast lift, implant, lipo, tummy tuck because I had lost a bunch of weight. And then I I got pregnant the next year. So after that, I was like, "Oh man, I have all this like fat that I didn't want that I had mostly removed and now I'm pissed." And so I was on Ozempic and I mean everybody's on Ozempic. Like, it's annoying to get. It's expensive, like it's just annoying. So I was like working out and then I was like, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm going to get some lipo." So I got lipo 360 lipo, and then I also got some back fat removed. I got, like, my love handles, like, excised or whatever. Like, I mean, it's so much, and I've spent so much money, and it's not a healthy thing, and so I'm, like, sitting here in my faja, like, annoyed with myself, but I'm gonna stop, I promise. I also had, like, a tiny bit of work on my face. I had, what's it called? Threads. I had nose threads, and then I had eye threads, but my forehead's really small, and so it didn't really take, but I had nose threads put in to give me a bridge in my nose, and I don't know why I did any of that. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but, this is just a warning, like, don't be like me. So, I mean, I was just really insecure, like, post having the baby, and I just don't want that for anybody. So if you're listening to this, just, thing is, I look at other women's bodies after they have babies and I'm like, "Damn, like, she looks good, like, she snapped back," and I look at myself and, yeah, I did technically snap back, but, you're mostly moms listening to this, you see some changes and you're like, "Oh, I can fix this." And I don't know why I did that, but that's what I did, so hurts like 8 bitches on a bitch boat, that's what lipo feels like.
You're gonna make me scream. Stop.
That's where we are now. Um,
SF
but
bitch.
yeah, so that's what's going on. And yeah,
I
so
want that
normally
shit so bad.
what, lipo?
I just want like the funds, but I'm like, I'd already told you, like, I'm actually supposed to be having like life improving surgery, but I'm just scared of being cut open.
Yeah, don't. Like, I mean, unless it's life saving, obviously do that. But like surgery's scary. And I was just so I actually really did need the whole like body makeover because I had loose skin from the weight loss. I was like 150 pounds. And so I really did need that, like for my mental health, and that did help. But like if it's just aesthetic or whatever, like, I wouldn't. I mean, it's dangerous. There's, like, no, and when you go under, which I didn't go under, I had a wake lipo, which was interesting because it's like I was awake, but I didn't feel anything. I was just kinda loopy. Um, but, like, it's dangerous anytime somebody's cutting you open to do anything. You could get an infection, you can whatever. So, just I mean, if it's an optional thing and you're fine without surgery, I would say, like, don't be like me.
I'm gonna be like you.
Bitch.
You know what's funny? No, do you know what's funny? Like, I only had like two things done that, like, remember when I was like consulting the group chat because I was concerned about it because it was supposed to dissolve and go away and it never did. It's still here to this day.
What? I don't remember.
My lip flip and my filler and my top lip.
Right, I forgot about that.
Because remember, I don't know, like you guys have seen like pictures of me as a kid, pictures of me as a teenager. I don't got a, naturally I don't got no top lip. It's just a line. It's been it's been 2 years now, and the lip flip is still there, and so is the filler.
Nice.
Yeah,
I when you had that done, this is how stupid and addicted to surgery I am. I have lips, but I saw that, I was like, "Hmm, lip flip filler."
so like, ooh, that looks fun. It was fun though. Like my esthetician, she was just like, "Oh, you gotta look at that, and look how I made that," because there was nothing there. There was nothing,
Right,
and
and
now
and
there
the fun
is.
thing also, when you go to a, like, cosmetic surgery center, they're so nice, all the girls have surgery, like, they're so friendly, like, you just it's something about it. I shouldn't be saying this, don't get it done.
It's almost like a
But
nailery experience, except that they can talk to you more, and it has like
yeah,
like it's a noticeable result that everybody notices. Like only girls notice nails, but everybody notices the
right.
fact that you got a top lip and nice boobs now.
Exactly, like, I just love visiting with them, kikiing with them, like surgery girls, the dolls as they call them, dolls. We just get each other like, so it's just like a little community type of thing. But no, don't do it. Just don't even start. Don't do it.
I think like the one thing is too, like you get top of the line stuff, and like you can't cheap out on that shit either. Because remember in my place of work once, remember I think I like told you that like flashback nightmare of me trying to squeeze this one girl into like her Halloween costume. She got like a
Right.
really bad BBL, and it was like sand. I was so scared. She's like, no, 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 that's just the BBL. I'm like, but it's moving to your
I'm
back.
dead. Oh no, that's one thing I am too, even me, I'm too scared to get, because that's a dangerous BBL is a dangerous surgery, and you can't even sit on your butt for like weeks. Apparently, I'm not doing that. But like other
Okay, that
stuff,
explains why she stood a lot. I was always asking her to sit down with me to have a drink, and she's like, "No, I'm all right over here." So I'm
you
like,
know what?
"Oh."
I'm gonna lean.
I thought that she was just like mad at me. Now I know.
No, that one's fucked. But I don't know, just something about it. But I'm gonna tell myself I'm gonna stop. This is gonna be the last one, and I'm good. Because the recovery from lipo, I mean, it hurts. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't feel good. So yeah.
Where does it hurt though? And like the incisions, or just like the general
Hmm.
area of where like it was taken out of, like a nerve
Both.
pain?
Both, all
Ooh.
three, yes. And also, it's like the compression in the first few days. Yeah, they give me Vicodin, which was fine, but it's like once that wears off, that pain is serious. Like it hurts. And then it's slowly getting better, but I mean it's uncomfortable. Like your fat got removed, your nerves on the surface are all fucked. So I have some numbness, like still, but I mean it goes away, but it's like it's just not a great feeling. And I'm like hating it. But then that's the thing, is like once it wears off, then you're just like, whoo, what else can I get? So I have to make sure when I get to that point, I'm like, tell myself, no, no, don't do it.
Your sis is snatched though, so give it up for her.
Yeah, I'd be looking in the mirror and like, so a while ago I had ab etching done. And so with the lipo now that I've had, the abs are poking through in a major way, and it looked like I hit the gym for these bitches. Like I'm getting like a little 4-pack cutting through. I'm like, hey, but no, no, don't look too hard. No, it is looking good. I'm not gonna lie. It looks very good. Like I'm gonna be posting some thirst traps. But that's the thing, I don't lie. I'm very honest about the surgeries I've had, because some bitches, I mean, some people will be
You said
like,
some bitches
some lovely ladies will
automatically.
be like, I mean, you know who I'm talking about? Influencers, gym influencers are like, yeah, I hit the
Oh
gym for this.
yeah.
Like, bitch, no, you didn't. So I'm not one of those girls. Like, I will straight up tell you, this is where I went. I will post pictures, tag my surgeon, like, because I get good work. One of our friends, actually, she has a podcast too. It's called Run His Pocket Sis. She was asking me about my boob job, and I told her I have like the Mentor Smooth, high profile, 350cc, like boobs that have like a warranty, a lifetime warranty. And she was like, I should have known you got the Tesla titties. That's what she called them. She's
Oh
from
my
Texas. She's like, Tesla titties. I was like, shut the fuck up, bitch. Oh man. But yeah, we should jump into the episode. But
We should. But at
but
the same
before we
time, it's just fun to talk about body modification. Everybody's cool
it
about piercings and
is.
tattoos and stuff, but it's fun.
Yeah, I love to kiki and just like talk about it. It's like I don't know why people. It's so I get why it's like a personal thing for some people, but for me, I'm just like, whatever. But like before we jump into the episode, guys, like if you really want to hear our like real personal shit, subscribe to Spotify. It's $1.99. You can get all of our personal life stuff, and leave us a review. If you if you don't want to pay $1.99 a month, leave a review. Just click the 5 stars that shows you love us. And if you are a business owner, we are actually offering super super low rates for mommies or just whoever listens to our podcast, whatever. If you have a business and you want our audience to hear what you have to offer, you can, go ahead and DM us, send us an email. You can just let us know if you want us to read it at the beginning of the show, middle of the show, end of the show, and we'll let you know what our rates are and, sell some stuff, some services, whatever you got. So
We love
otherwise,
an entrepreneur.
we sure do. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the episode. I realized that we need to talk about some updates about some past baby daddies that we talked about. So, do you kick it off?
Okay, so we have Drake coming up, who cannot stay out of the fucking news from that whole like pool noodle pee pee thing that still scars me.
Flopping
And
around.
yeah, yeah, that I won't forget that. A lot of people have. That was awful. You showed me that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, someone else had
Yeah,
to see what I saw.
like look at it flopping. I'm like, I didn't want to, but I
Uh,
did. Last thing I see before I close my eyes at night. So yeah, he might have another secret child. Have you heard about the beef with him and Kendrick? Which we, I don't know how you couldn't. It was fucking everywhere. We tried to avoid it, but no, it was everywhere. So he's saying it's not true, but we'll see because he said that Adonis wasn't real, and Adonis is
right.
very much real.
Right, and he was out here making up that fake story about the hot sauce and the condom. Like, I mean, he's dumb, but that story was planted. I made a TikTok about it because I researched it a little bit deeper, and it's definitely a fake leak story. So if you go to our TikTok, there was a video called "Drake is so fake." Like, just listen to my theory on that. I don't want to go into it now, but he basically leaked it to make it sound like he's cool and like gold diggers want him, but it's like that was the dumbest thing ever. It just made him look dumb. Um, we
A lot of
we
things.
right, a lot of things make him look dumb, like that pool noodle floppy light skin penis. But um, so people are mad about so Kanye and Kim are like catching a lot of flack right now because Disney had like a 30th anniversary of something that they do. I don't know what it is. I am not that deep into like Hollywood and Disney, whatever. But like Northwest was like performing and she couldn't follow cues. She really couldn't sing. She wasn't doing that great a job, which I mean, people were really going in on her, which I'm like, that's mean. That's a child. But like most normal people are just mad at Kanye and Kim. They're like, "Come on, Kanye, you're a musician. You could have hooked her up with like a voice coach or something. You guys have all this money and you let her go outside like that. Like, I mean, that's embarrassing for her. Like, so yeah, Kanye. I mean, he's just out here chasing behind that like naked woman that he's with. So he's too busy.
Yeah, she definitely took after her mom in like the talent department. I watched the video, and I also actually watched the kid that was supposed to be in her role, and he was fucking phenomenal.
He
And just
auditioned,
the
yeah, but they gave it to her because of the clout, I guess. I mean, which, like Disney needs clout.
yeah, I mean, like I get it, but like, could you imagine being a kid and just like having not only that natural talent, but knowing that you have that talent and like just seeing like, no, we're just gonna have this one, and like you see her being manhandled by adults in
They're pointing
animal
like, "Go,
costumes.
stage right,
Yeah, and
bitch."
she said, I just can't wait to be king.
Eh.
And you're just like, wow.
It sounded like me singing. Like, it was not good.
It
Sorry,
was,
Nori.
and I like the
I'm
stage
sorry.
directions was hilarious. She was like, everybody look
It was
left,
really funny.
looks to the
The
wrong
zebras.
stage left. Everybody look
It's like, you didn't
right,
practice
looks to
one
the
time.
wrong stage right. I was like, oh, yep, that's a nepo baby. And I'm like, I'm not bragging on her, but I'm being completely honest.
No,
That
I
was
blame Kanye for
abominable.
that.
I blame
Um,
Kim.
and so I try not to comment on people's kids. So I'm not gonna go in on her and also not on Krishan Jr. So, Blueface, who was originally the final boss of Baby Daddies until we got to like Diddy. But so luckily he's still in jail. But Krishan has been trending lately, his baby mama, because people have a lot to say about her baby's development. And I'm not going to get into it. I mean, you guys can look into that for yourselves. But I mean, it's it's a situation. And that's really all I'm going to say about that.
It's sad. I'm gonna say one thing about it. The only thing that I'll say about it, like, of course, I'm not gonna talk about the baby. What did he do? He's like not even like he's a baby. He's not even a year yet. But like
Right.
watching the videos of her interact with him and like just kind of toss him to people, like they're
And when
very
he tried
rough with him.
to. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's like very rough with him. Like even if he was like developmentally like hitting his milestones, I would not be that rough with a child that young.
He hasn't
And
really
not
been hit.
even that. It's just like I mean, like I honestly think that Krishan probably has like a developmental delay as well. Just like real
I can see
recognize
that.
real, babe. I just like real recognize real. So yeah, like there was just like this video of her trying to feed him mashed potatoes, and that just like sent chills down my spine because I remember like introducing my baby to solid food, and you have the bowl in front of them, you have the spoon, and they're reaching for it. They're like having eye contact with it. They want it. She's
Mhm.
putting the potatoes up to his face, and he's completely like looking past it,
Mm.
and he only recognizes that the potatoes are in his mouth after like 5 seconds. And
Like
I think
100 yards there.
yeah, but like that's not the baby's fault. I'm not talking bad about the baby. That's extremely irresponsible to Krishan because he could have choked.
Mhm.
And he wasn't facing her. She was feeding him, introducing him to solids on her lap, facing away from her, so she could make a live stream about it.
Yeah, and, like, for reference, like, for people who don't have kids, like, I mean, for me personally, with my daughter around the same age, she never let us feed her. She does not she likes her autonomy a lot, and she would, like, smack the spoon out of her hand and just start going at the food, like, punishing it, because they see it, they want it, that's what babies do, and so it's just really sad to see, like, she had posted a video of him, like, crawling, and it's just sad. I mean, I'll let you guys look up that yourselves. I mean, it's not right, so
Yeah, I fully place it on her and also her family and his family of just they're like, well, you don't know her situation. It's just like I know that she has enough money, influence, and clout to get him the help that he needs for her. Like you don't need to be on the internet right now. You don't need to be filming this because how do you know when he grows up that he wants people to see him like this
yeah, and
and
people
making
are
comments
actually
on him?
suing right now, like, kids who were, part of the family vloggers, in the beginning, right? They're, like, grown up now and suing parents, like, "You used me, like, people have posts about their girls having their first period. They've been posting them since they were born, like posting every milestone of their life, every the first time they got bullied and like all this stuff online. And so the kids are getting like bullied to this day. Like I can go online and look up everything about you. The kids have stalkers now because the people have been watching all these YouTube videos and feel like they're entitled to the kids. And so the kids can't live their life. So they're suing their parents, and like the state of Minnesota is trying to come out with a law saying like you can't have your kid in like 30% or something of like your income like through social media. And if you do, like they'll fine you heavily. Like the kid gets 100% of any money that's made. And if you don't, like you're going to jail basically. So, I
Good,
mean, yeah, that's how it should be. Like I post my kid, but like I don't like on TikTok, for example, I don't post her face. Like you'll never see like her face. It's very rare that I post her. We don't say our kid's name even on the show. Like the show's not about our kids. The show is about us hating on baby daddies and us. So and you guys, you guys listening, like it's not about kids. Like we are not the type of people to exploit our kids. There are some really disgusting people out there that subscribe to like get like exclusive content. There's moms out there and dads who will like send their kids clothes to these people and like make handprints in clay and
Kim
send it off.
Kardashian.
Well, disgusting, like, do anything for a dollar, like, I personally could not, so
Yeah, but that's all I wanted to say on that. I just like I don't like people talking bad about that baby or like making like armchair diagnoses about him. Like you're not a fucking doctor. You don't know. You don't know. And even if you were a doctor, it could take forever for him to get diagnosed. Hey,
Right.
27.
Like,
But at the same time, yeah, I just feel really, really bad that I don't think that he's actually getting the appropriate intervention. And I believe that she's actually circumventing the system because of the clout that she has. Because if she was just a normal black chick with a kid that had this type of delay and her record, I
mm-hmm.
think that the services would be involved because she has like videos of her stating, "I'm getting an abortion anyway. I'm just gonna do whatever," and then like
Mm-hmm.
taking Henny to the face.
And the baby
So
daddy claims that it's not his every day, every time he gets mad, and he's in jail.
yeah, yeah, like both of them, they need to be investigated. I'm not even like solely laying this on Krishan's shoulders just because she's the mother. He needs to be investigated as well because he was encouraging that
Absolutely. He has other
behavior.
kids too, and he didn't take care of them either. So
Who he exploits. He exposed them to strippers. We're not going to let that go. We're not going to let that go. It's a very problematic environment with everybody involved.
oh man.
The other baby mom is always half naked around the other kids. Like, why is she
So
naked? Like,
fucking
she got that
weird.
BBL and she just let it go.
She had to show everybody. But I'm sorry, what's going on with J Lo?
Oh, J Lo, yeah, J Lo. Let's brighten it up with J Lo. This is gonna be amazing news. J Lo has canceled her world tour. Yay!
Everybody's like, why are you hating on J Lo? First of all, J Lo stole all of her like lyrics, all of her voice, everything from like Ashanti and like other women of color who actually were the ones singing her songs. And
Her
then
aesthetic.
her aesthetic, everything. And then she tried to like claim she was from the Bronx, which yeah, she was probably born there, but I mean, anyway, so they laid her voice over the tracks of like women of color singing, and she basically made her whole career based on that. She cannot actually sing, she can't act. And I go on Netflix, they're constantly pushing this new movie she's in, Atlas. I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna watch it. Because did you see Geely? I probably saw a second of it and was like, no.
What is that?
It's a movie that has like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes with J Lo starring. It's the
No,
worst.
why would you recommend that shit to me?
Girl, I'm
You're
not
gonna piss
recommending that
me off.
shit. I
You're
was
gonna
just
piss me off.
wondering if you saw it. It came out in
No.
2003 and it stars Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, and I think they don't really they don't really talk about it. I mean, we didn't even mention it. I forgot about it because I mean 2003, that was so long ago. It was 21 years ago.
For good
And
reason.
yeah, let me look up the Rotten Tomato score right now. It has a 6%. So someone out there was like, you know what? I finished it. That's
It's right.
it was on
I
in the
got couch
background.
locked. I couldn't get up if I wanted to.
Yeah, so Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez did a movie together and it's terrible. Don't watch it. I'm not recommending it. I'm just telling you it exists out there. Don't watch it. But so yeah, she canceled her world tour and I mean, I'm personally happy about it. Nobody was going to that. Fuck J-Lo. She's actually really nasty to service people and I don't like that.
Yeah, I
But
mean, like,
she
what did she
claimed it was
claim?
like her she was like, "Oh, I'm spending time with my family. I'm heartbroken over this." Bitch, nobody was buying the tickets. Like, shut the fuck up.
Nobody likes her. You know what? Both of his Jennifers are pretty awful. How did you feel about me sharing that video of Jennifer Garner to you? What I was talking about?
Girl, I wanted to leap through my phone and like choke Jennifer Garner. Like, why are you? That is racism. Like, that was full on racism. And Regina King handled it so smoothly. She was just like, "Well, my ancestors are, from they were slaves, but." I am from Los Angeles. Like, why did you ask that? When she was staring her down, like, oh, I wanted to fight her. Like,
She was looking at her like a fucking hawk. Like that condescending, like sat, like that freeze frame of her stopping to eat as she talked and like squinting her eyes. Like we've all seen that of like somebody that's trying to be a mean girl, and it's just like, bitch.
mhm. And she didn't let it get under her skin, and I was proud of her for that. But like all Ben Affleck's drunk ass and his two Jennifers can all go to hell. But moving right along to the diddler.
Oh
What's
god.
going on with him?
We need to have like music that plays after we say the diddler. Like the
Batman music.
Sims scary music or like Donna the diddler. You know when like a
The
robber
final
comes in your house in The Sims 1, it'll be like Donna. Yeah, so the diddler, he's taking hit after hit, and honestly, I think that it's all accumulating to like a big federal trial for him, and a lot of people are going to go down with him. Cause like,
hopefully.
yeah, cause like if it was just going to be like a wham bam, thank you, man, we want him in jail trial, like they did with like R. Kelly, they wouldn't have
Mm.
stretched it out this long, and they wouldn't have been like cookie crumbing evidence like this.
I think it's gonna be a
So,
Rico case for sure because
oh
his
yeah,
sons were in handcuffs briefly, and they've been investigating people connected to him. So I'm sure it's gonna be a Rico case.
with the pink coke, yeah, he's gonna get. And
And
I'm
Diddy's
happy for
son
that.
tried to make a diss track. He was like trying to come for 50 Cent, another baby daddy we talked about, but nobody moved. Everybody was like, "What the fuck? You can't rap like at all. Like, this is your first time ever rapping." And then like Diddy released, so the video came out of him like brutalizing the singer Cassie, and he came out with this fake ass apology, and he was like, I was in a dark place. Like, bitch, you're the dark place that other people find themselves in. Like, he's scary. He has
Bree,
those dead
that
eyes.
that could be the worst misinterpretation of what you said.
I don't care. No, I'm just kidding.
You're the dark place that people find themselves in. Yes, that is the diddler.
Oh, with drums and drums of lube and baby oil.
Did, but no, oh my god, like the video. Remember what I said specifically? Like he's greased up and always in a towel. And didn't he come running out of that
Him
hotel room
running out, white towel
completely
wrapped around
greased
his
up?
waist,
He
just
was
greasy and
oiled.
mad.
He was oiled. And I was like, oh god, look at his layer of protection. She couldn't rip on him if she wanted to.
I'm dead. It was disgusting, but
His son is
what
really stupid for trying to step to 50 Cent. That man will ether your life. He has too
his
much
dad
fucking
must have put him
time
up
on
to
his
that.
hands.
He just sits online bullying people and not taking care of his kids, and just like, why would you mess with somebody like that? I mean, we do, but they're not gonna come for us.
Like he bullies people that literally ask, like, why would you do that to me? I actually liked you, or why would you bully me? I didn't even know that you knew that I was a person.
Right. So he
Why
actually
would
did
you attract
release
his attention?
50 Cent did release like a documentary on Tubi. I haven't watched it. I don't watch Tubi, but I saw the title come up, and he did release a documentary about Diddy. So if you watched it, DM us because I'm not gonna watch it.
I watched it. What was it? The House of Diddy, right?
Yeah, something like that, like House of Hammer, but Tizzler.
Yeah,
What was it good?
it was like a YouTube video essay. It wasn't
Oh
bad, but it
goodness,
shouldn't have been on Tubi.
girl, they put anything on there. So what's going on with Trump?
They got him. They got him. They got the girl. They got 34 felonies under his belt.
I
What
was
was his
like,
tweet?
damn. When they were guilty after guilt, I was like, what happened to Teflon Don? Like, look how they
He ran out of
massacred my
grease.
boy.
They ran out of grease. Diddy took it all.
You know when you're using a Teflon pan and the Teflon part melts off and it's just metal and plastic burning into the
Oh
atmosphere? That's what happened to Teflon Don. Like, God damn.
my god. Wait, but didn't I send you it? I have to look it up with what he said because it was like another Trumpism that I want to start using.
Oh yeah, what was it? You gotta find it because it was really funny. Um, I mean, we don't think he's gonna get any kind of or prison time because, I mean, it's Trump. Like, they can't send him to prison.
No.
But I find it funny that Hunter Biden, another baby daddy we talked about, the the right is like, Hunter Biden's walking around free. He doesn't have any felonies. So this is a liberal conspiracy. I'm like, Hunter Biden should definitely also be in prison. This is an example of a corrupt justice system that he's
Oh,
out. But
he's still in federal court. He has to go to court this week.
right. And I'm like, they're not paying attention. Like, everybody who commits fucking crimes. And the thing that pisses me off about Trump, listen, it's not that I'm rooting for him or anything, but it's like, he's been like, Slick Willie, Teflon Don all this time. And you couldn't even properly pay off your prostitute. Like, Hunter Biden, at least when he wants to pay somebody off, he like sells a painting, washes the money. The way Trump did it was so sloppy. No, I mean that pissed me off. It's like you've been getting
I mean, Hunter Biden's a crackhead, and like we went through his expenses, and everybody that were in those videos with him, they were well paid. Like nobody complained about being a sex worker for him. Maybe with the gun that he's in trouble for, like the gun. But they
right, so
were
you
well
let a
paid.
crackhead outsmart you, and so that really pissed me off because I'm like, come on, Teflon Don, like you let all your Teflon melt off, and Hunter Biden's out here paying off people with paintings. You couldn't do that. He literally like gave money to Michael Cohen, and then Michael Cohen made a shell company, then made another shell company. It was all documented in Delaware where the LLC was registered, and they found that he did that and was like heavily involved in making it. Just pissed me off because and then
That's
people were
hilarious.
and then people were trying to come for Melania because she didn't go to court the whole time to support him. I'm like, why would Melania want to sit there with her beautiful Botox face, sit there and listen over and over again while they detail how he was cheating on her right after she gave birth to Barron? Like, it just really pissed me off. They've been posting her nudes like some kind of gotcha, like on Twitter. I'm like, leave
My
Melania
sis,
alone.
my sis was in her apartment making cabbage rolls and minding her goddamn business.
In her babushka era, minding her own fucking business. And the left and the right are like coming for her, posting her nudes. Like these are decades old photos. Like let it go. Nobody cared. Nobody cares now. Like
She
it
definitely
really pissed
doesn't
me
care.
off.
Do you know how she gets down? She's just like, okay, that's how I came to USA.
Right. Or like she's like, damn, I was hot back then. Like I saw it was her name was trending, and I looked and she's like nudes, nudes, nudes. I'm like, leave her alone. Like, oh my god,
Like, I don't like her as a person. I think she's hilarious, like objectively.
she
Like she's
is.
terrible, but at the same time, it's just like the left is
She's like
just like
classic
rights
Eastern
for women,
European.
no matter who they are. It's terrible to do revenge porn. Also, look at Melania; she naked, and it's just like, okay,
Oh, I
okay.
hate that. I hate that hypocrisy so much. But and then our last update is about fucking Elon. I mean, he has done some things lately.
I said bring this video of somebody testing a Cybertruck because everybody's getting really hurt by them now. They're like air fryers on wheels. Like they're not good cars.
I mean, the whole like self-driving system was fucked. People have been getting cooked in those cars, man.
So like this guy that's like an Elon like fanboy, he's like showing the safety features and he's gushing about it. He's like, let me try the trunk safety feature of the trunk with a banana, and he closes the trunk on a banana and it doesn't close. And he's like, look, it doesn't shut. So he's like, let me try with my finger, and he puts his finger in and
The
it
video
bent
cuts.
his shit back like a Newport in my back pocket. That shit. He's like,
The
yes.
video just cuts off. Sorry. That shit had me rolling. And then somebody, for some reason, let Elon Musk's company Neuralink put a fucking chip in their brain so that they can, checking my notes here, with the chip in their brain, they can control a computer cursor with their thoughts. And I was like, I bet you that doesn't really work. I bet
That made
you.
me choke. It's not.
I bet you it works like a Cybertruck. I bet
You
you.
know, I looked at like the animal test subjects of that Neuralink thing, and
Cooked. I'm
like,
sure.
yeah, the monkeys that they put it in, they said that when they put it in their brain and they activated it, they kept scratching their head in that place where exactly it was like put until they reached bone, and then they died. And
Because it
then when
shocks
they
you 64 times. So the things connecting the synapses or whatever connecting to your brain. You can't do that to somebody. It's
yeah, so they
frying
just
you.
scratched. They literally like took their little monkey hands and whole like flayed themselves, took skin,
Oh,
fat, muscle, all the way trying to
trigger,
get to their skull to get
trigger.
it out. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. And this one guy was just like, Elon's a genius. I won't be like that monkey. I'm a man. I'm like, okay.
Oh my fucking god. And the last update about Elon. So there's this couple that's trending right now because there is a story. I want to say it was maybe the New York Times. They had a journalist go out and kind of shadow this family. So they are pro-natalist, which means like just pro like family and having as many kids as you can. And they say that they're not white supremacists because they're like everybody should be doing this, but if you read the article, you'll see that they're actually white supremacists. But they have like 3 kids. They're not really racking up huge numbers right now, and so they live in like this old farmhouse up in the north of America. They don't heat it, so they all wear like snowsuits in the winter because there's no heating in there. And the journalist was at dinner with the father, and the 2-year-old did something, and he just open hand slapped the fuck out of the 2-year-old in front of her. And so the journalist obviously included that in the article. And on the way back to the house, he says to her, I don't want you to think I was abusing the kid because tigers in the wild cuff their cubs. And so if tigers can do it, we can. Then, when the article was published, in their defense, he went on Twitter and he said, and I'm paraphrasing this, but he said, well, black people are known for hitting their kids and nobody calls them abusers. You guys are just being racist. Like, just look into it because like I said, I'm paraphrasing it,
LMAO.
girl. And so you just look into it because it's like just a whole rabbit hole. Like I go down rabbit holes. And so the names are Malcolm and Simone Collins. And when you look at their pictures, just take a look at them. And I know the first thought in
I'll
your head is
give
going
you
to
a
be,
second.
it's gonna be supremacy wear
So
because
Malcolm and
and
Simone
Simone Collins.
Collins.
Go to
Why is the
Google, click on
master race
images.
like cold? Why are they living without heat?
That's what they like.
Oh, that is
You
not
see
the
them?
master race.
You see them? That's a race. It's not certainly not master. It is a
All
representation.
right. Looking at these people, and I'm being completely genuine, my first reaction is this is like uh the personification of iron deficiency.
Anemia. That's what you're passing down to your kids. Anemia. And they live in poverty because they're like, "Oh, we're donating so much money." But then they like bought their house and the house next door to them with the money from their charity, and they put a family in that house to watch their kids for free while they're like on tour talking about pronatalism and Elon Musk. Like it's crazy. Just please look
They're also
into it.
extremely like myopic. Like they're extremely like nearsighted. Like I can see like I'm myopic. I can see their glasses distort their eyes into pinholes. So these fucking nerds. Sorry.
And that's a thing that you'll see if you do a lot of like interbreeding and don't like diversify your bloodline, you just end up passing down normally recessive traits. Like if you look in certain communities, like Ashkenazi Jews, for example, they pass down a lot of bad eyesight because they just kind of marry in their community. And so you'll see a lot of them have to wear like really strong prescription glasses because they're just passing these traits down. And so they're just passing down anemia and vibes and white supremacy. And it's not
It's awful. Did you see that one guy that was trying to be like, "Oh, you look so exotic. Are you like Asian?" I'm like, "No, I'm just inbred. I fear."
that was so funny. I can't believe you said that. I was gagged. Like,
No, I just tell
not
white guys that
red.
now. I hate when they say that. They're just like, "Are you Asian?" Because they want you to be. Oh my God, they want you to be. And I'm not. I'm not. I just
I think it's
there's a lot
like
of genes repeating.
people would come up to me and be like, "Oh, are your boobs real?" I'm like, "Yeah, real expensive. Get the fuck out of my face." Like, why would you ever ask somebody that?
It's
Men
so
have no shame.
weird. No, like they operate on like I think like in their brains, like there's like a little menu off to the side that's like a Pornhub selection thing. And when they
Right.
search
Like
up,
Ebony.
yeah, they're like, when they search that up and I tell them whatever hashtag they're looking for isn't applying to me, they're like, oh, I really wanted that to be a thing.
They're
Also, we had
fucking
a
nasty.
listener, a random listener. I think he listened to like 3 episodes or something. He like randomly messaged me and he was like, what did he say? He was like, you make this podcast. It was in broken English. I'm not sure. You make this podcast. You are Filipina. I'm like, sir.
Okay, Jocelyn, relax.
I was so
It's a grandma's
scared. It was
debate.
like that pointing emoji, Filipina. I'm like, no.
The fuck.
I just want to
Um,
pick out a banjo and just go.
Stop.
No, like I really want to crush your. It's just like, where are you from? Henry County, Virginia.
Stop. Don't come for Virginia.
Bitch, that's where my family's from. Remember when I
No
said like the
way.
exact town and you were like, oh boy, and you just replied dueling
Right, that is,
banjo?
girl, that is deep, deep Virginia. Like, Virginia's a big state, all right? And so, like, when you go deep towards the middle, towards the bottom, like, I'm in north, like the tippy top of Virginia. When you start going deep, that's a whole other vibe.
Yeah, if you Google it, and I'm not going to say it because you can figure it out on your own, but you'll see like crime articles and all the people look exactly like me.
I'm dead.
And
Um,
they all have my last name. It's fucking hilarious. So, yep.
oh my god. That's funny as fuck. Um, Oh, also, before I forget, we just re-released an episode. So our episode with the opinionated lushes, the audio was fucked up, but I finally got in touch with customer support and it's fixed now. So we re-released it. So if you had trouble following it and you want to re-listen to it, or if you skipped it, like go back, listen to it. It's really good. Like these girls are so fucking funny, and you just get like the Canadian perspective of
Oh
having a
yeah.
deadbeat baby daddy. It was great. So now we're gonna jump into the episode for real.
We had a whole lot of meat to get through. It's been a minute. There's a lot of stuff
It
that's
has,
happened.
yeah. So, oh man. So getting into Brad Pitt. So his kids fucking hate him. I mean, we do too, obviously, but so his daughter Shiloh, she is like, I don't want anything to do with you and your greasy ass. She said, I'm dropping your last name because her name, the kids' names are Jolie Pitt. So she's just gonna drop the Pitt and just kind of like Angelina Jolie herself, she dropped Voight because she's John Voight's daughter. She's just like, I'm just gonna do that because fuck him. And then Pax, one of the kids, is going viral because a couple years ago for Father's Day, he wrote like a essay about how fucked up Brad Pitt is to them, and it's going viral again because it's almost Father's Day. It's coming up, and so we're just gonna jump into this and tell you guys why he fucking deserves this kind of treatment from his kids. So here we go.
All right, so we've got Brad Pitt. He was born December 18th, 1963, and this good dude's fucking 60. Like, isn't that crazy? Like, the way that he's marketed, you would think that he's like permanently 30, like maybe 40 at best, and they like
They did
really want to
that with
keep him
guys.
young.
Like Leonardo
Yeah,
DiCaprio, they try to act like he's not an old creep. And even people like Matthew McConaughey, who I don't know if he's creepy. I don't really know anything about him, but they'll put him in roles where, they're acting like he's like 30 something. They're old. These are old men.
we do know that he's creepy. Remember our one listener from Texas? She told us that he doesn't wash his ass.
Oh my god, that's right. Yeah, yuck. Well, I mean, they try to. It's kind of like in our Woody Allen episode. Go listen to it. But like in that episode, we talked about how these like Hollywood producers and whatever directors and stuff, they try to pair them in movies with younger women. So it looks like two things: one, that women prefer older men, which we'll get into. They don't, but like they try to make it also look like these men are like young. They basically put tanner on them, they put some Botox in there, some filler, like do a facelift, pull their face skin back to make them look younger. They're not, okay? It's a
Yuck.
Hollywood trope. They look like shit.
Oh,
But I'm
ew.
sorry. Continue.
So yeah, he was born in Shawnee, Oklahoma, and he should have stayed there shucking corn. He had married parents, two siblings, with him being the eldest of the three, and he was raised Southern Baptist, which explains a lot. He moved to Missouri, somehow worse, he just could not escape the cornfields. So there's not much about his early life because, like, what the fuck can you do in Oklahoma or Missouri as a young white guy except become a trucker or a serial killer or both? And he didn't do either, so nothing noteworthy happened. So he went to what, the University of Missouri, and then he dropped out of college. Good for him. And then he went to Hollywood, and everything went well for him. But we're not here to talk about his career. You know who the fuck Brad Pitt is. You know what he's been in. You can name at least three Brad Pitt movies off the top of your head, right? So yeah, you Wikipedia. We're not doing that. So yeah,
Yeah.
let's talk about his shitty reputation as a man, partner, and father, and why I hated looking at him in his fucking highlights.
Yeah, when I was younger, and we were talking about this earlier, me and Dee, like I used to like him. Like when I was a kid, I mean, I guess he was kind of like my Hollywood crush because you're a kid, you don't know any better. And I saw Legends of the Fall. I love that movie. Like he was so handsome and like muscular in that movie, and now as I'm older, I'm just like, ew. Like now that I look beyond the character, which a lot of you should do with your faves, like Chris Brown, for example, like look beyond the character. These people, I mean, there's something wrong with them. So let's get into it. So Brad Pitt, when he was 27 years old, he dated a girl, a child. She was 16 for 3 years, like from 1990 to 1993.
Ew,
Um,
nigga.
and in that time, I was born in 1990, so I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know about like Seinfeld dated a teenager also when he was old. Like they were
That
dating kids.
tracks.
It's not legal, but I mean, I guess in his case, the girl in Seinfeld's case, I think she was like 17, and people try to be like, "Well, that's okay." Like, no, it's not. But Brad Pitt was dating a teenager child in high school when he was 27. And it was not legal. Like it's just in the state of California, it was not legal, but whatever. So her name was Juliette Lewis, and he remembers her fondly, and he gushes when he talks about her like most cradle robbers do. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this know what that's like. He says he still loves her, and this was as of 2023. He says he still loves her, aka he fantasizes about the arrested version of her that he has in his head. Like Humbert is here to stay. Like he just ew. So she does not like to talk about it for obvious reasons. It's like when you're in it, you're like, "Oh, I'm so mature, blah blah blah." But when you get older, and that's the hard thing. That's why the cycle continues because as older women, when we tell younger girls like that the men, you're not really a mature like whatever. They're lying. Like not to talk bad on you, but like it's a lie, but you don't realize it until you're old, like older, and it's just sad. They tell you, oh, older women are jealous when they're trying to warn you. But
You should have
anyway,
listened.
so allegedly, like people back then said that they had started dating when she was 16, but when Hollywood has like a fave, like they can and will change dates to make things look like prettier on paper. That will change dates on warrants. I mean, it's a lot harder now with social media, and access. But back then, I mean, there's so many things just flew under the radar, like, and this is one of those things. So they didn't have any kids together. I mean, it's just important for context. Same with Gwyneth Paltrow. We mentioned this in a previous episode. Gwyneth Paltrow was being like preyed upon by Harvey Weinstein, and Brad Pitt said, "Hey, Harvey, don't do that," but then continued to make movies with Miramax and Harvey Weinstein. And they dated from 94 to 97. There was a 9-year age gap between them at the time. Gwen was 22 and he was 31. They got engaged. Dee said they had matching cunty blunt asymmetrical bobs. They did. They're both blondes. You know, they had their bobs going in the wind like my dog. But anyway, so they're still friends to this day. And basically all he did when he complained to Weinstein was just put her on a list of who not to fuck with, which didn't stop anybody else from being fucked with. I mean, he didn't care that much. He was like, "Oh, I'll kill you, Weinstein." Like, it wasn't serious. He, like I said, he continued to work with him. So they broke up, and Gwyneth said the relationship breakdown was due to her being a kid that wasn't ready and not able to make decisions at 22. I mean, these are quotes. Again, when I say to our younger listeners, like, you don't realize until you're older that these men are taking advantage, but she's still friends with him, whatever. I mean, I think in Hollywood, a lot of the times they just try to keep the peace. That's just how that community is. You don't want to get on the bad side of people like Brad, who he produces and directs now. He's a powerful guy in Hollywood. But so is she, but it's just different for men and women. So she also said, "I honestly do think I was too young and didn't know what I was doing." And people talk about the fact that he might have cheated on her, but there's no like confirmation of it. So next, and we all know about this, his infamous marriage to Jennifer Aniston. They were married, but they did not have kids. And so up until this point, and so I remember this because they met in 98. It was a highly publicized marriage. And this was a year, probably less than a year after he broke up with Gwyneth. He broke the engagement off. Um, so they married in 2000 and they divorced in 2005. So when they met, I would have been 8. And when they divorced, I would have been 15. So I remember this because it was in all the newspapers, all the gossip rags. I mean, we didn't have social media really, but it was very highly publicized. So they had a 5-year age gap, with, of course, Jen being the younger one. And there's a rumor that it was like an arranged Hollywood marriage because they were both popping at the time. And he was on a guest special on Friends. I remember that. Um, and so their managers, like, Hollywood will try to put people together, for example, Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake, and then try to make the people involved feel like it was their decision, but really, I mean, who can say? So um Jennifer Aniston says he was just the sweet guy from Missouri, which Dee says those are usually the famous last words of hitchhikers. Like, he was just a sweet young guy from Missouri. I just needed a ride. Like, so they also had matching highlights. Like, but Jennifer Aniston had her like signature Aniston hairstyle, which was very popular back then. And in 2002, Jennifer Aniston and Brad Pitt launched a production company. It was called Plan B Entertainment, which I didn't know about that. We both didn't know about that. And they produced Troy and the 2005 version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And then actually that same year, 2005, they separated and divorced. And it totally, totally had nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Smith and his co-star, Angelina Jolie. Like, nothing to do with that.
All right, let's jump into Angie. So, this was also his wife, and they have 6 kids together. So, if you look up their relationship, they will tell you, "Oh no, it was in 2005 after the divorce." But all sources from the time period say that they started dating in 2004. And I'm keeping it that way because they were having an affair. Like, we're not blind. Everybody knows that. Oh, and let's get into brand new because I hate the 2000s. Like, why the fuck are we putting people's names together? They fell in love on the set while Brad was married. However, both of them will deny that they had an affair. And, like, the rumors in 2016 say that Brad had affairs during their marriage, which obviously tracks because even when he didn't have like an affair when he was, he didn't have an affair when he was married to Jennifer. As soon as he was done with one relationship, it took him nearly months to find the next woman. And I really find that when guys do that, they were already blanking the girl beforehand. I just don't believe that you just jump into a relationship with somebody like five
Nobody
months
fucking
after you
believes that.
separate. No,
Plus, if
nobody
you
believes that.
watch that movie, if you watch Mr. and Mrs. Smith, it's very sexual. Even the parts where it's like about like violence, where they're fighting people off, they're like back to back, holding guns, and Angelina's in this like ripped up like dress, and like it's a very sexual like themed film. Like, come on.
Yeah. And you know what the truth is with Angelina too? She also had like a pattern of like dating people that were already like in committed relationships. So again, this tracks like when she was dating Billy Bob Thornton while like he was engaged to Laura Dern. A lot of people didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that he had Laura Dern. She deserved better. And she was
I didn't know that
also,
either.
yeah, I'm glad that wasn't a thing. She
Right,
also
Laura
joined a
Dern is a
dating.
national treasure. So
She is. I love her. I loved her in Twin Peaks and Blue Velvet.
mhm.
That's my Lynch girl. And when she had the lesbian affair with Jenny Shumizu, Jenny
Mhm.
was also still, again, in a very serious relationship with somebody that she was living with, and then she left her for Angelina. So I think that girls that like get off on that, oh, I made you leave that person for me, like you are doomed. Do not do that shit. You see what happened to Ariana Grande? She's got what my baby dad has. She is rotting quickly.
I'm dead.
So yeah, they have a 12-year age gap, which again is a pattern that he has disturbing. Except for Jennifer, they were only 4 years apart. She was 29 when he met her, but he was 40 fucking two. Like, what would you even have in common? That's very close to my
Acting.
age. Yeah, I was very close to my age, and if like a 42-year-old guy came up to me to talk about anything, I'd be like, don't you have kid? Don't you have like a wife? Where's your wife, man? Go home to your family, dude. Anyway.
And so Angelina is like a humanitarian, and I feel like Brad kind of pretended to also believe in that, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, so like a month after Jennifer filed for divorce, Angelina had the thought to drag her adopted child with her to have paparazzi take pictures of them on a beach together in Kenya, which is like very weird behavior. I don't know. I just didn't like that she did that. That was
I
weird.
think she
Like,
was trying to legitimize their relationship because there was a lot of media like with Angie being a home wrecker, and I think she just really didn't like that. But it's like you were so.
yeah, it was just like a weird. I don't know. It's just something weird to do to me. So she got pregnant officially in like 2011, and he got engaged to her no, right? Yeah, she got pregnant in 2011, and then they got engaged in 2012 after 7 years together, which is like ghetto as shit to me. Like I feel like only people like in very low class societies do that. Like you have the all of the means to get married. Why are you just making her a live-in girlfriend?
And people were spreading this rumor back then that like he never really wanted to be married to Jennifer Aniston. Like he just is not a person who wants to be tied down. He's a cheater. He's just an abusive asshole. And so I think, with her getting pregnant, he was like, okay, fine. Like, whatever. Here's your fucking ring, bitch. Like, he's that
Yeah, he
type
was
of
definitely like a ring thrower. Like, here, shut the fuck up.
mhm, shut up ring. But then he
Yeah,
actually went through with it. So
but that's only after like 2 years. Like, he made her wait still as a fiance, and it's like again, you aren't like normal working class people who usually in the fiance phase are like saving for the wedding. You don't have to fucking do that. Why did you make her wait?
And he couldn't even be one of those people who was like, "Oh, she's just after my money." Like, I mean, she was just as successful as he was, so if not more, because she's a bit of a nepo baby. Like, she's John Voight's daughter, but regardless, he did make her wait. And this is why I love about our show. It's like he is just as ghetto and trashy as a lot of our baby daddies. So if you're listening and this makes you feel better like about your situation, this show is for you.
Literally all of the money in the world. Because when he got married to Jennifer, he got married to her very quickly, and he gave her a very lavish, beautiful wedding. They said that there was a wall of caviar,
Oh
and with
god.
Angie, it's just like, next year you'll be all right. So yeah, they were married for only 2 years, and then
Ghetto.
immediately got divorced. And it was irreconcilable differences per Angelina, but yeah, there were some differences. All right, we'll get into that. So as of 2019, they were declared single. They call their divorce War of the Rose, and I hate tabloids because be fucking for real.
What does
It's
that
about
even
them owning a
mean?
winery. And yeah, like she was
Right.
abused, but can we be
Right.
fucking for real here? Like, let's not make names about this. People got hurt. We don't care about the wine right now. And
I
he's a
forgot
drunk,
about
so this
that.
is doubly distasteful. War of the
Yeah,
Rose
I think she
with
was
your
trying
abusive
to.
drunk husband.
I think she was trying to sell or something, and he was like, "No, it's mine," and but like wouldn't buy her out, like something like that. You guys gotta look into it. We're not. We'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, it's a shitty thing. So yeah. And then he started dating Inez de Romon. In 2022, he met and started dating this jewelry designer. She now lives with him as of what, like 2 months ago. He really makes these bitches
Still,
wait. He makes them wait. I'm sorry for calling them bitches, but it's like, god damn. It's like I'm like looking at Maury. And she, of course, was 29 when they met, and he was 58. Ew.
ugh.
If you squint at her, because I was looking up pictures of her, because I'm like, I wonder if he like follows a type, because most guys do. She looks like a tanned, like amalgamation of Juliet, Jennifer, and Angie. It's really weird and
She really
eerie.
does. I just looked her up. Oh my god.
See, like she has like
Wow.
Juliet's like head shape and her eyes and eyebrows, and she has like Jennifer's like bone structure and
She's
skin
very
tone.
thin, like Angie.
Yep, and she has Angie's like thinness and like the rest of her like dark features. It's really
Dark hair,
scary.
dark eyes. Yeah. Well, no, she has
Yeah.
light. Or Angelina has light eyes, I think. But
Yeah, but it's just like I don't know. I was just like looking. I'm like, oh my god. So yeah,
found
they
her.
bonded over their divorces, which I think is like a death knell in a relationship. Because how can you bond?
Absolutely.
How can you bond over breaking up with somebody? Because like, what is the topic of conversation? Oh, I hate my ex.
That's a trauma bond. That's not healthy. And also the age gap. I mean, and I again, I'm not trying to shit on her, but it's like, for example, the person who Elon Musk most recently had their kid with. It's like all the stuff by now that they've done is public and public knowledge, which we'll get into like the federal aspect of Brad, but it's just like all this stuff is out there, and so you're still just like a lot of us, our baby daddy is abusive, narcissistic, crazy. Somebody out there will still believe their lies and be like, oh, I can change him. Like, she's an I can change him ass bitch. And that's sad. Like,
She better learn how to duck. Um, Going into the kids, Brangelina have 6 kids together. Let's go through them. So the kids' last names are Jolie Pitt legally, and they hate it. One is petitioning to have it changed legally, but Angelina's kind of in the way of that. It's kind of like a pain in the ass legally, but the rest of them, like in unofficial court documents and stuff like that, they just use Jolie. Like I'm Jolie as their stage names. So
and
there's
that's
Maddox.
serious. Like, I
It
mean,
is.
to want the name change, and that's a lot of work. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have been married before. People are listening. Getting your name changed back is a headache, like legally to go through. So for them to like just once they hit 18, they're like, nope, don't want it. Like that's serious.
Yeah, they all hate his ass. Starting with Maddox, he was adopted from Cambodia in 2002. That was Angelina's first child, and he was like not adopted by Billy Bob. She like adopted him as a single mom. When she was filming Tomb Raider, she saw him like hanging from a ceiling when she was just like touring Cambodia, and she was like, "Oh my god!" So she adopted him. Brad eventually adopted him in 2006. He's a pretty good, bright kid. He's interested in humanitarian work and Asian American relations. Then there's Zahara Marley. She's 19. She was adopted from Ethiopia in 2005. Brad again adopted her in 2006. She's a jewelry designer. She goes to Spelman and she's pledged to Alpha Kappa Alpha. She's also into humanitarian work with a focus on racial equality and rape conviction. She did like a lot of federal stuff to make sure that rape kits stayed in the system. And she did that with her mother, which I thought was really nice that they have like a
Yeah, I mean, that's
focus.
one thing. I think that Angelina, she might have some problematic things about her, but she doesn't play about her kids. And I love the fact that Zahara pledged AKA because that just shows her that she has this connection kind of like to Black culture. Because if you don't know, for our listeners maybe who aren't American, like Alpha Kappa Alpha, that's like a top tier kind of like sorority. They wear the pink and green, they have the pearls, they take it very seriously, and they do a lot of humanitarian work. And so for her to pledge that, and I remember when that happened, I was like, wow, like that's awesome. Like that she could have pledged any of the like, what are the white ones called? Because the black ones, the black Greek life, they're called the Divine Nine. I don't know what the white ones are called, but she could have pledged any of those, but she, chose and was accepted by AKA, and like I find that really cool.
Angie and Angie really supports her through like everything. Because actually they have like Angelina has like a really beautiful relationship with all of her children, and she respects like all of her non-white children's culture in a way that like I don't think I've ever like seen before, you know? Like, with like a famous white woman. Like it's really, really, really beautiful. I give her flowers for that. Their
Yeah,
biological
like,
daughter.
oh,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say it's like she's like the opposite of Mia Farrow. How we talked about in the Woody Allen episode. Mia Farrow just like collects kids. Like Angelina actually invests in her kids and cares about them. So huge difference there.
Yeah, none of them mysteriously die. So yeah, she's a really good mom, unlike Mia. So their biological daughter, first one, is Shiloh. She was born what? Well, they don't have a birthday, sorry. I'm gonna just cut this out. She's 18. Angie allowed her to express herself pretty freely as a child and without any emphasis on gender norms. Cause she doesn't put a definition to what she is, but like she just pretty much wears whatever. She'll shave her head. When she was like a young girl, she kind of like presented pretty much neutrally or as a boy. And that wasn't like a big thing to Angie, but you'll soon find out that that was a very big thing to Brad, even though his PR team kind of pushed out like, "Oh, I accept her as she is, and I loved her." No, he no, he did not. Like that's why she was the first one to say, "I want this fucking name off of my like, get it off. I want nothing to do with
Yeah, I have a lot of respect for that. I mean, when it comes to like transitioning and stuff, that's a whole other issue. But as far as like letting your child just be like, I'm fluid, I'm, just experiencing life, expressing myself freely, I mean, that's cool. Like, you don't have to oppress them, like, let them be who they are. And Angie does let her do that, and Brad does not. So,
it. Yeah. So next child is Pax Dien. He's 20. He was adopted from Vietnam in 2007, and he was adopted by Brad in 2008. He had a really hard life coming up. Actually, his mom was a heroin addict in Vietnam, and he had a liver issue in the hospital, and she just abandoned him right there and then. So he already had like trauma coming into this, and Angie came and saved him. So for Brad to add additional trauma on top of that is just like such a bitch move.
nasty
He,
work.
yeah, like he's big on film and photography. Like he's usually on the set when like Angelina's like acting, and she says that she really encourages his interest in there. And he's not like in the spotlight. He doesn't like to act or like voice things, but he's there. He likes to be in production, and she really encourages that in him, and he loves her for that. And the next two are Knox Leon and Vivian Marceline. They're 15-year-old biological twins. Knox, the boy, stays out of the spotlight. We don't hear much about him. But Vivian is interested in acting, and she was in Maleficent with her mom. She loves theater, Broadway shows, and bunnies, which is fucking adorable. And I will say that they're all very well rounded, seemingly really good natured kids. And I'm also going to just like give her flowers again for just being like a wonderful, caring, in tune mother. Like, again, like Angelina, if you know her backstory, she's had like a lot of problems growing up. So I can really see that like she looked at that and just did the complete opposite. Like, none of her kids have been in the news, they've never had like issues. And they're extremely close to her. If you see Angelina out and about, you'll see one of her kids with her. Like, she's 100% a mom. And like we said, like she never disconnected her kids from their homes or their countries, really. Like, she regularly took them back home to experience what they wanted to experience. Again, with Zahara, she let her be a black woman, and she said, "I'm very proud of my black daughter. So I'm going to let her be what she wants to be." And, they all have very loving relationships to this day, and they've never said a bad thing about her. Like, they never even, like, bitched about her, like, like Hollywood kids will do, like, "Oh, I hate my fucking mom. I'm going to smoke some weed and crash my car." Like, you never hear that about her kids. They're good kids. They're good, sweet kids. But, yeah, like, I feel like your relationship with your kids, when they have the option and choice to be around you, says a lot about you as a person and a lot about you as a parent. All of the kids are no contact with Brad as their choice. Angelina has tried to facilitate a relationship between them, like, try, but they're like, no, like, we've seen some shit, we do not want to be around that man. The younger two are actually terrified of him and don't even want to look at him.
That says a
Yeah.
lot because all the kids except for the twins are like adults, and the kids even, I mean, if he wanted to, he could try to be like, "Oh, I'm going to try to do a custody thing." I think he's not even going to try because they don't like him. They don't fuck with him, and we're going to talk about why.
He tried and failed miserably.
Oh, did he? Oh, wow. Well, good. Because let's get into the plane incident. And so I just want to say Brad Pitt is a unique baby daddy in that he has one baby mama, but so many kids. And so they all have this unique experience because they were all on the plane when this happened. So in September of 2016, the fucking FBI and Los Angeles Child Protective Services opened up investigations on Brad Pitt for child abuse following an incident on a plane, which was of physical and verbal abuse of his children, which was in an anonymous report originally, and he was not charged. So, Los Angeles CPS is probably the worst child welfare organization in the country. It's poorly run. And if you know about Gabriel Fernandez and other kids who just suffered under their piss poor system, then you know what we're talking about. But in 2022, Angelina's complaint came out publicly. So here's what happened. So Brad Pitt, they're on a private jet all together. Brad Pitt is just pissy drunk, scaring everybody. And this is quotes. You guys can look this up and just read the court documents that like the complaint Angelina filed. So he grabbed Angelina by the head, shook her, and then he grabbed her also on her shoulders and shook her. And everybody knows what Angelina looks like. She is tiny, tiny, like skin and bones. And so this is this big man grabbing her and shaking her. And one child, they don't name which child did which, but one unnamed child witnessed the confrontation and asked, "Mommy, are you okay?" And Pitt yelled, "No, Mommy's not okay. She's ruining this family. She's crazy." And then another child on the plane shot back at Pitt and said, "It's not her, it's you, you prick." And so one child verbally defended Angelina, and Brad Pitt lunged at the child, and Angelina Jolie grabbed him from behind to stop him. And so to get Jolie off his back, Pitt threw himself backwards into the plane's seat, which injured Jolie's back and elbow. And again, this is all happening on a smaller, like private jet. you cannot be rumbling like this. This is why when you're on the jet, on any plane, they're like, stay in your fucking seat. Like, you don't want to throw off, but she's defending herself and the kids, and he's just brutalizing all of them. So to continue, um, he injured her back and elbow, and we want to emphasize again, Angelina is thin. She also had like the BRCA gene. We can look that up, but she, had a mastectomy. Like she's weakened. She has health issues. And so all the kids kind of were acting together to defend themselves and her. But before it was over, Brad Pitt had choked one of the children, struck another child in the face, and the other children were pleading for him to stop. And it was probably the younger ones because they weren't strong enough to like physically fight back. And he was just yelling and cussing the whole time. He like went in the bathroom, dragged Angelina in the bathroom with him and was hurting her. She escaped. And then he comes out, he pours beer all over her. Then he poured beer and red wine all over the kids. And like hours passed and he passed out drunk on the jet. The kids were just hiding under blankets with Angelina. Like, can you imagine how terrifying that is? And Angelina, like when they landed, she went to wake him up to say, like, me and the kids are going to a hotel. And he just woke up pissy, mad, screaming at her, pushed her down violently, and he shouted, "Nobody's getting off this plane," and prevented the family from deplaning for about 20 minutes. And one of the children intervened and demanded to leave. And then finally, he was like, "Fine, get out of here," or whatever. So, but once they left, he once again hit another one of the kids. And he grabbed and shook Jolie by the head and shoulders again, which caused one of the kids to beg, "Don't hurt her." And he finally let her go and he called her a bitch and said, fuck you all. And she got like separate travel to the hotel arranged for her and the kids, and she just left. And then 5 days afterwards, she filed for divorce. I mean, I'm sure she was shook and injured and scared and caring for the kids. So she got up the courage to file for divorce. They interviewed multiple witnesses, the feds interviewed multiple witnesses, and the person who apparently submitted the complaint was actually not a part of the family, but was a concerned member of the flight crew. And if anybody knows about like private jet flight crews, they're very like, I mean, they probably sign NDAs. Like they're supposed to be just kind of in the background. No one knows like what's really going on. But I mean, it was so concerning because if you're on a plane, people are throwing people around. The plane's probably like, jerking about. And when you people who might not know this, but like when you sign an NDA, if you're witnessing actual crime being committed, you can legally break the NDA. It can't gag you from talking about crimes. And this was a crime that Brad Pitt committed against his family.
And not even
So,
that. They emphasized that the FBI was alerted because it was reported to the CPS, but CPS had to let the FBI know because the FBI's jurisdiction is the air.
right. So, Brad Pitt's alcoholism is well documented, and he only went to look for help in the AA meetings in 2016. He smokes a lot of weed, and that's just what he does. He drinks, he smokes weed. So he claimed that in 2022 he had face blindness, which, I mean, there is some controversy about what face blindness actually is. I mean, from what I understand, it just means like you see someone, you don't automatically recognize that you know the face, which is hard to explain for people who don't have face blindness. It's kind of like, if you can relate this, when you see somebody, you're like, they look familiar. And it's like, oh, I know them. I like follow them on social media. Like I have that. Like sometimes I run into people and they're like, oh, your oyster martini, on Instagram. I'm like, yeah, like, but it's kind of like that, but worse. But I don't think he really has that. And basically, his PR team was just trying to spread that to get sympathy and distract from him being a fat, evil drunk. And he was never diagnosed with it. It was just PR bullshit. And so if anything's causing any kind of face blindness, it's just the room spinning from him being fucking drunk all the time. So that was not his first time. That was just his worst documented time of him being just a drunk, abusive asshole. And the fact that he was so comfortable doing that to all of them shows you it's not the first time. Anybody who's ever been in an abusive relationship knows it's like a frog in boiling water. The first time they do something is so small and you don't realize it until later. And so I can tell you it's probably not his first time being abusive towards them. So,
Yeah. So this is now we're gonna go into the custody situation. Basically, him trying to take the kids away from Angelina. So pretty much like the first shot off of why he was so angry and vicious on that flight was he said, and I quote, "That kid looks like a fucking Columbine kid." And he said that was in reference to one of the children. And honestly, picking out from one of the kids just on appearances, he was probably talking about Shiloh, like she had.
Columbine, like the big school shooting in the 90s.
Yes, he said that she looked like one of the school shooters.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. I mean, for people who are like are outside of the US who don't know what that means, like Columbine, the shooters were wearing like trench coats, all black, like Doc Martens. And wow, that's a terrible fucking thing to say to your kid.
Yeah, it was pretty obvious who he was talking about because, again, you can just look her up and that's exactly how she dresses. She likes to shave her hair. She likes to experiment with fashion. She's a fucking teenager. And that apparently Angelina's just like, well, don't say that to our daughter. Like, don't do that. And that's what caused all of this physical abuse. And they said that the kids that he was hitting in the face was mostly like Pax and Shiloh because they were the ones that were trying to physically get him off Angelina. And I just think that's so sick and sad. Yeah. So in the courts, family courts, Angelina was given full custody of all six kids in 2017, and Brad was only allowed therapeutic visits from a therapist. And again, he had to join AA or some type of rehab to even see them because he was going to get supervised visits if he didn't, because he was like a down and out drunk. They honestly probably made him like do like a piss test or a urine test or even like a hair test to see like how much how much is dude fucking drinking. One, and two, is he even like coherent to even like take care of kids? So yeah, like you don't just randomly get therapeutic visits for your kids off the bat.
That's serious.
In 2018, Joey's attorney said that Pitt had paid no meaningful child support since separation, meaning he wasn't giving her diddly squat. So he's drunk, a miser, and he hates his kids. Again, this is like full on hillbilly shit. He's straight from the cornfield. I hate him. And the
He
war of
literally looks like Children of the Corn,
he
like blonde,
does.
blue eyes.
And that disgusting jaw.
Ugh.
All right. So in the War of the Rose, that comes from their winery, and he was basically pretty much terrorizing Angelina with the rights over the winery. She's like, I don't want anything to do with it. You're a drunk, and the winery reminds me of you being drunk, and I don't want anything to do with alcohol anymore. So I'm going to pass on that. And eventually, she got like this Russian billionaire to get like 67 million out of it for him to just buy her share, which Brad said was like out of spite because I was trying to buy it. No, he wasn't. And that supplemented his non-existent child support, which I'm pretty sure that he doesn't pay to this day. And Angelina said that she can't even look at the winery or wine anymore because it was the beginning of the end for her family. Like, you ruined wine for this woman. And eventually, I believe into like 2019, Brad gained joint custody and like a really shady, weird court procedure. But that was almost. The shit got flipped back like automatically when it was presented to an appeals court. The judge that Brad Pitt somehow manipulated to get seen by, John Oderkirk, was disqualified because he failed to disclose a business relationship with Brad Pitt's attorneys.
Ghetto.
And Angelina custody still stands. She's primary parent. He can't even really get visitation. Brad Pitt bribed a fucking judge.
Ghetto with money.
And as the kids say, the kids of color, they say allegedly he doesn't even want to see them. None of his adopted kids. He just wants to see the biological ones, Shiloh and the twins. But Shiloh fucking hates his gut. She doesn't want to see him, and the twins are scared of him. So
And
they
that's
all hate
disgusting
them.
because Maddox, who is Cambodian, like he's known the longest, then Zahara, and then Shiloh, who's a biological, then Pax, then Knox and Vivian. And so it's like they've been your kids all this time, but you only want to see your biological white kids. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, why did you even adopt them? Again, that's why I said earlier, it's like he pretended to be a good person, like Angelina, which again, if you're a baby mama and you're listening to this, you know what that's like to have your baby daddy like pretend to care about the things you care about. Like for example, I care about women's rights. I donate a lot of money to like women's shelters. Everybody knows this about me, that I care about women's rights. And so I'm not going to name names, but people that I've dated have tried to pretend to care about it too. But it comes out in the end, just like it did with Brad. It's like you can tell eventually when the blinders are off and they're not really in it like you are, and then you realize, wow, they're just lying about everything to get in good with me. It's disgusting. It's just
It,
narcissism
yeah,
and ghetto baby daddy bullshit.
he's really like disgusting. It's also like rumored, like not official in like any type of court documents from the family courts, but is rumored by people that's around them, probably the kids saying the rumors, that he saved his worst physical and verbal violence for the kids, Pax, Shiloh, and Zahara. So the Vietnamese son, the gender non-conforming daughter, and the black African daughter. That's who got the hardest knocks.
Disgusting. It's giving Mia Farrow. It's giving Woody Allen. Like, do better. Do so much better.
And I'm gonna add, like, all of the adopted children, it's not like he was disconnected with them and he adopted them at like 7 years old. They were all under one. They were babies. He was their father
Babies.
forever. That's the only father that they've known. So
So disgusting. And so, pause for a second. We need to put a disclaimer at the beginning of this episode. I realized
oh yeah, we're this is a lot of violence.
it really is. Oh my god, it's like a lot more serious.
This is almost Diddy
Okay,
level.
right. I mean, this is awful. Okay. So, as far as him being a parent, all of the children, all 6 children, reject him as their father. So, Brad Pitt has actually not been photographed with any of his children since 2016. And we will let that kind of like set the tone for the rest of what's to come here. So, Pax Jolie Pitt used a private Instagram account to accuse Brad of causing damage to the family, and said that the truth about him would one day come out. And it did. This was back in 2020. This is that post I told you guys about. So he blasted him on Father's Day as an awful human being who makes the youngest of his 6 children tremble in fear. The caption read, "Happy Father's Day to this world class asshole. You time and time again prove yourself to be a terrible and despicable person. You have made the lives of those closest to me a constant hell." Brad Pitt did not make any comment about this when it came out, and Pax just fucking hates his guts. And so with Zahara, when she was introducing herself to her sorority, she intentionally left out Pitt. She goes by Zahara Marley Jolie, and she to this day does not use it in her day-to-day life. And she's very quiet about it, but her distance to him is known and obvious. Shiloh hired her own lawyer and paid for it herself to get Pitt dropped from her hyphenated name. So she's Shiloh Jolie. And his abuse was that bad to her that she wanted to make a point that she chose this. So she's an adult. She hired and paid for her own lawyer. Brad claims that she, quote unquote, wanted to move in with him, but Angelina kept her away. Bullshit. Shiloh has stood on business and has pulled the name change and her own legal action to stop his PR machine from changing the narrative of him being a reprehensible evil drunk. Like, you can't clean this up. He's just a bloated, washed up 6-year-old has-been. Anyway, I'm sorry. So Maddox Jolie really hates his ass after the plane incident and has not spoken a word to him since then. Testified against Brad during the custody battle, emphasizing on his father's addiction, abusive nature, and apathy towards his non-white and adopted children. Has threatened to release a tell-all book about Brad. Has dropped Pitt from all non-legal and unofficial documents. He wants to drop it legally, but Angelina's on the fence about it, which is probably why Shiloh waited and did it herself. So, ladies, let these kids decide what they want and just get out of the way. Like, the love and soft spots that you have for that man is not something that they give a fuck about when they spent their childhood traumatized watching him drag you from room to room by your hair. And if you listen to our episode, our subscriber only episode, you'll kind of know what that I just went through something like kind of similar, not as bad, but it's like, you cannot be the good guy. Like, you have to just kind of stonewall them, and you can't sit here and try to make him be a father. Like, he has to figure that shit out on his own. And look how it went for Brad. But finally, the twins. So there's mysterious reports that Brad has introduced his youngest kids to his newest girlfriend, Inez, that we mentioned as of October 2023. Mysterious, dubious, we don't know the truth. But turns out it was bullshit. Another product of his PR machine, because again, none of the kids talked to him. He wasn't introducing nobody to nobody. Hollywood will always try to make men look like a family man, and it comes out that they're not. So anyway, it is well documented, as you guys probably know now, listening to this episode, that the twins are fucking terrified of him. They'd watched him brutalize their siblings and them and their mom. They don't want to meet his fucking girlfriend. So the only way that Brad even found out that Zahara was even going to college was because a reporter told him. And wouldn't the twins bring that up in normal conversation? Like, common sense says, yeah. So he has not seen them damn kids. Like, this bullshit. Vivian has dropped his last name non-legally as well. And a source insists that the actor does not give a damn what Angelina thinks about his relationship, saying he especially doesn't give a damn what Angie thinks. In fact, he wants her to know that he's happy with someone else, which is bullshit. He's not happy. When you're that fucking drunk and you hate yourself that much, you're not happy. Let's be fucking for real. So, as Dee calls it, the replacement goldfish girlfriend that just keeps him distracted. He's trying to be like photographed with her and like shove it down Angelina's throat. Like, look at me, look at me. She doesn't give a fuck. Like, she's fighting for her life and her kids. Like, fuck you, Brad. So she's living the hard knock life now because they're living together and she is the replacement, and she's keeping him distracted so he's not brutalizing the family. Good for you, girl. Like Z always says, learn how to duck, sis, because Brad's gonna come in swinging when he gets a sip of his rosé. It's on like
Oh my
Donkey
God.
Kong, okay? So
Can you just imagine for taking him to like Italy or something? Like, oh, look, Brad, limoncello. She comes back and the whole bottle's gone. You're like, that's not how you drink that.
she turns her head for a second, turns back. She's like, Brad, that was for us to share. He's like, oh, bitch, I was in Fight Club. Come here, Ed Norton. She's like,
Oh my,
no, the face blindness.
oh my God, my chest. That's It's really ironic
Yo,
for him to be in like in Fight Club now, because like
girl,
holy
that
shit,
did not age well. Did not
his
age well
fucking
for
kids were in Fight Club with him. They're like, oh, yeah, we're gonna talk about fucking Fight Club. We're gonna talk about it in the court. Fucking dick.
That's the part of Fight Club that was unrealistic that nobody sued because look at Brad now.
He whooped my ass, and he was hot while he did it. Why did he have a shirt off?
Why did nobody stop him?
I hated the pictures. Like people were trying to be like, oh, it's so hot. I'm like, he's whooping people's ass. They like have
Oh
this
my
super buff
god.
picture of him. Like, oh, that's so hot. I'm like, there's a man on the floor.
He's bleeding. Somebody check on him. Man, fuck Brad Pitt. Listen, we hate Brad Pitt, okay? There's no discussion that needs to be had. He's abusive, he's drunk, he's a piece of shit. He's a probably like pedo adjacent piece of shit. So, I mean, we got to give him a rating though. So, what do you think, G?
One is the worst, five is the best. We're waiting from 1 to 5. One is getting an alcohol slurry poured on you by a fat, bloated alcoholic has been with platinum highlights and a lantern jaw. And 5 is a winery, I guess.
Oh my god. So, yeah, he's a 1. I'm sorry. I mean, just beating your wife and kids like that, like, I just cannot even I don't have the words, to even I mean, that's just abuse at its like, most apparent. Like, he's just a violent, narcissistic asshole who has a PR machine chugging behind him, trying to make him look like he is worth a damn, and he's not. So, fuck you, Brad Pitt. Rest in piss.
You ever beat somebody so bad the FBI gets involved? Like, holy shit.
Whew, so bad and so flagrantly in front of people who, like, signed NDAs and, like, are not supposed to talk about what they witnessed, but had to say something because they were terrified. Like, that's on a whole other level.
I don't know about you, but if I had a physically abusive person in my life and they have longevity and they get old, they're done for. They are
Done.
fucking done for. I'm gonna be lifting. I'm gonna have like a 6-month boot camp of me flipping them off of their like raised toilets.
I'm dead. Oh my god. So that was Brad Pitt. I mean, fuck him. And listen, if you love our show, you want to support us, feel free to subscribe to our subscriber only content, buy some merch. We always have the link to our merch shop in our episode description. We have t-shirts, we have tote bags, we have stickers. You can stick our show on your laptop or wherever you want to stick it. And also like follow us on social media. Where can they follow us, D?
You can follow us at WHY Baby Daddy Pod on X, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram.
Yep. And that is all for this week. Feel free to leave a review, as I always say. Just, make our day. Tell us you love the show. We have our Q&A responses on Spotify. We have our polls every week on Spotify. Well, most weeks on Spotify. So, just vote in the poll. And that's all for now. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.